Out of all the writing routines I've considered trying, the one that has intimidated me the most is the Murakami one. I've seen other creators do it, and there was just something about hearing 4 a.m. and running in the same sentence that immediately turned me off.
I'm not running because I do not like running whatsoever.
My name is Dominique, and this is my channel where I am documenting my journey to becoming a published author. As you may or may not know at this point, I'm probably technically considered an early bird. I tend to wake up naturally around 6 or 7 in the morning. The problem though, is I'm also very much predisposed to complain about waking up that early and will most likely stay in the bed until, of course, it's a more reasonable hour to get the day started.
4 a.m. is kind of bullshit.
However, I've had this story idea floating around in my head, and I figured it was time to get started on drafting another novel. The main thing drawing me to this routine was that it induced a kind of mesmerism. I'd experienced a sort of mesmerism before, but it was fleeting, and honestly, I just thought it was delirium from having spent 6 months revising my novel. Regardless, I was intrigued by the idea that because of the intensity of the routine, Murakami could summon that ever-elusive flow that we writers dream of being in, and in my case only happens when I'm not thinking about it. It's perhaps the reason I'm always in awe of athletes who embody the saying mind over matter. The intense focus they pull either when they're training or going into a game. That no excuses, push your body to the max, override the discomforts of physical exertion kind of focus that leads to triumph, a deeper state of mind, or simply clarity in my case. I'm not an athlete, but I often try to apply this practice to how I write. And seeing as Murakami had the same mindset, it was only time I also attempted his writing routine. So for 1 week, I set out to wake up every day at 4 a.m., work for about 5 to 6 hours, swim in the afternoon, and then spend the rest of the day reading and listening to music. All to find out, can routine mesmerize me and lead me to a deeper state of mind? As much as I was dreading this, I figured I'd start off slow. In the early, reluctant hours of pre-dawn Sunday, I had to get a video up, so worked on that instead of beginning this draft. So it's Sunday, 9:20 a.m., and I've decided to start the Murakami writing routine today so that I can give myself 7 days of this insane routine. Today I didn't get started with the writing, but I had to upload a video to YouTube. So I spent the 5 hours doing this essentially, but tomorrow I'm hoping that I'll ease into the writing part at 4 in the morning and not upset about it. But as this video is exporting, I need to figure out if I'm gonna eat something because next I have to go swimming. I definitely don't, how many kilometers does this man swim? In the afternoon, I run for 10 kilometers or swim for 1,500 meters. I hate running, so I'm gonna swim. I definitely don't think I'm going to hit 1,500 meters today. I might do like 1 kilometer. We'll see how that goes, but I'm gonna upload this video now because it is Sunday morning and I will check in with you later. I wanted Sunday to just be a slow day to ease me into the demands of this routine. I hadn't been swimming in a couple of months, so this was also going to be a challenge to see if I could do even just 1 kilometer of swimming. And fortunately for me, I did. Allora, all right, girl. So, it is 12:49, just before 1. I have been up since 4 a.m. I have published a video. I swam. And I am now going to prepare myself something to eat because I am starving. I did end up swimming 1 kilometer. I did 40 laps. I didn't even think I could do it, but I'm really glad that I did it. We'll see how I do for the rest of the week and if I can indeed hit that 1.5 kilometer. I don't know why this man pushed himself so much. I know he only writes in the daytime, but since I had video editing to do this morning, I'm going to make myself some lunch and then take a couple of hours to just map out how I envision the week going. Make sure that I have a coherent enough outline to guide me throughout the week as I attempt to enter this meditative state. Pray for me. But yeah, let's go. If by chance you are Italian or a chef or anyone that respects the cooking process, I would look away now. I've gotten my board all done. I have a roadmap. I have a bit of a strategy for how I'm going to tackle this draft for the week of writing like Murakami. It is my first foray into writing a specifically romance novel, or where the love story is the driving, entertaining vehicle of this story. And I feel pretty excited as to everything that is going to transpire in the story, and then also with the discovery for myself as in the writing process. And the only thing I'm a bit overwhelmed with is that I'm trying to induce a meditative state, because Murakami said that once he got into this routine, it just kind of put him into what I imagine is a flow state. And I do think that I've experienced this before, particularly last year when I was finishing up the last draft of my first novel. I didn't induce that though, it just kind of happened, but I couldn't capture it. I didn't know what I did other than perhaps lose my mind trying to revise. Murakami listened to jazz music to finish out the day, so I've been listening to jazz music. And then he also would finish out the day reading. I am currently reading Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I have no idea how you say that last name, but I know that this was a really popular book over the last few years. And seeing as I'm writing a love story, I wanted to get some inspiration and just immerse myself within the genre. So that's where I am with that. I'm really looking forward to the fact that Murakami goes to bed at 9 whenever he's doing this routine, because I know as soon as I go to bed, or as soon as I start reading, I'm going to be ready to go to bed. It is now almost 6:15, or it's after 6. And that's it for me today. Day 1 done. By the second day, I was into the routine. It was like clockwork. 4 a.m., right. 8 a.m., break for pastry. And now I'm going to go and get some pastries. This reminds me of when I was a little girl and my dad would be having his coffee, and he always drank it with carnation milk. And then because I was too little, I couldn't have coffee, so I would make, oh, you can't even see me. Then I would make carnation milk, hot water, and sugar, and we'd be sitting there drinking. And to this day, he still drinks his coffee with evaporated milk. And for a long time, I had switched over to all of the plant-based alternatives, but now I'm just like, girl, this evaporated milk slaps. And by noon, I was at the pool. Once I had lunch, I spent the rest of the day reading and listening to jazz. Then I was in bed by 9, rinse and repeat. A few additions to my desk, which is so messy right now, but I picked up some new notebooks and legal pads so that way I could have one location for the writing of this draft. I've been writing on like sheets of paper all over the place, which is just such a mess and not very organized. Aside from the pool being closed on day 3, I would say I got the hang of it pretty early. Womp womp. For the first half of the week, I'd say the novelty of the routine gave me an inflated sense of enjoyment. I got overzealous, even lost sight of how much caffeine I was consuming, but I was getting words down on the page. Before I knew it, I had a chapter, and then 2, and I was meeting my cast of characters the more time I spent with the story. All right, so it is noon. It is noon o'clock. And I have logged over 6,000 words now in this project. Today I wrote a whopping, did I really today? 2,800 words. That's a lot. And I have about 5 chapters, rough chapters, but we're making progress. And today I did feel a bit like I was in this zone. At certain points, I was like just kind of rocking. And my protagonist now feels very much a part of me, or feels as if throughout the day I'm thinking like her and trying to speak like her, trying to channel her essentially. And so perhaps I might be entering some sort of meditative state, and I'll see how that is tomorrow. And surprisingly, I actually really like this routine. I know that prior to starting it, I was so nervous thinking that it was too intense to wake up at 4 in the morning to swim every day. I'm not looking forward to going swimming today. One, because I'm so tired of washing my hair every day, but also to walk there and all of that. Once I'm swimming, it's fine, but that's the only part of this routine so far that is a bit challenging. But the waking up is hard, of course, but having those first few hours in the morning of just writing and not feeling as if I'm compelled to, have any other markers of productivity is so refreshing. And I had the thought today that maybe I'm gonna keep going with this routine even when I'm not trying to do it for a YouTube video, but we will see. The only part that wasn't easy was the swimming, and that was because of the hair maintenance it required. I guess you could say Murakami and I couldn't foresee the hassle swimming daily would be. But seriously, if I had a live-in hairstylist, I'd want to swim every morning. It's just not practical though when I'm in the middle of a project time-wise. And to be fair, I chose swimming over running. It just goes to show how much I really don't like to run. Everything was going well until day 5 when I realized I was still wired from the previous day's coffee. But somewhere in the day I decided to have a second cup of coffee, which left my mind racing and me feeling angsty and jittery. So Thursday didn't start in the best of moods. I am legit crashing out because how is it not 4 a.m. yet? Do you see that? I feel like I've been up for hours waiting for the alarm to go off and just feeling like I just can't figure it out. But I have 30 more
I get up now. I really do think that. I think I had too much coffee yesterday, and the caffeine is responsible for my mood because I'm very irritable and restless, and I'm legit crashing out. But I'm just going to finish reading up Bird by Bird. I got, I think, about 60 pages left to go, and then that alarm will go off. But it is officially day 5. The crash out there. Enfin. Oui, mais je me suis déjà réveillée.
And I'm back to tea. No more crashing out because coffee is the devil. It's good, but it's the devil. I tried my best to be patient with myself. I only got about 500 words in the project before I went for a swim, but once I was in the pool, I think my body got to work out all of that excess energy. I swam the 1K in about 45 minutes, my best time of the week, and when I got back to the project, I was able to get my word count to just over 10,000 words. By Friday, it was clear that I was losing steam with the routine. I only logged 628 words for the whole day, and I only swam 600 meters. It was when I realized how much of a slave to moods and cravings I am, and how the novelty of the routine had worn off. It is day 6, and when I say I understand now how you shouldn't be shackled to your moods and just however you're feeling on a particular morning or whatever it is, consistency is about just doing whatever you said you were going to do and not craving comfort a lot of times. I don't even know if it gets to me. But anyhow, so I'm on my way to get a croissant. These last 2 days are asking a lot of me, but here we are. There was something about the emptiness of the afternoons, the silence of the reading, the jazz and classical music that I was listening to that felt curiously mocking. I had this restless energy that just wanted to fill the emptiness with noise and socializing and any semblance of being productive. I was searching for anything that wouldn't swallow me into the abyss of that empty space. And then it hit me. This was the very space I was asking to enter. I wanted to be mesmerized, but I didn't want to go that last mile of silence and solitude and repetition to get there. It dawned on me how counterproductive it was for me to intend on jumping in the waters of mesmerism while I sat on the edge ready to throw everything that was a distraction into it instead of plunging myself headfirst into the next lap. I wanted to keep testing the waters with a frenetic, caffeine-induced restlessness, when all I had to do was get lost in the monotony of every stroke. There is something about organizing the day into a routine, like a hypnosis of activities. Giving yourself permission to daydream about your story, setting up the space for a playground for your characters to feel comfortable to stay a while, to show you what they can do and what you can do too. And perhaps it's in this consistency of sitting down to daydream that does lead you to a sort of meditation. And then it was day 7, and I breathed a sigh of relief to be done. I didn't go swimming, unfortunately, so perhaps I didn't finish out the week strong, but according to my calculations, I covered a lot of meters collectively from my trips between the pool and the bakery. Surprisingly, I enjoyed this routine much more than I expected.
I'm literally just watching the sky change.
I didn't achieve mesmerism, but I did learn a thing or two about what it takes. It's about committing to the consistency, getting lost in the monotony of those small promises to yourself, even when you want to shake things up. Keeping those small promises, the earlier the better, lead to small wins, which ultimately lead to the bigger ones. So manage the small wins. Not every day is going to be you write a novel or you get a submission accepted or you swim 1,500 meters. But every day you can put one foot in front of the other. You can put away your dishes, your laundry. You can read 5 or 10 pages. You can write a page or a sentence. It's enough. You just have to do it enough to see how enough it is. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also if there's any routines you'd like to see me try next. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Looks like it's finna rain on your head. I solved my caffeine problem and picked up some decaf coffee. So now, unlimited cups of coffee, here I come.